What is up? We got Metal Gets Me High, episode 63. We got me and Ramon. Brad, our other co host, is living it up in Mexico City right now. But this week we have a very special guest. We have Dan, who is behind the Australian band Stellar Remains. Thank you for joining us. And like just to start off, I really enjoyed your new EP, Wastelands. It's obviously if I'm correct, this is your first release as Stellar Remains?
Yeah. Very first thing I've done is Stellar Remains. And it's just
Man,
surprising to get all this great feedback. Like I thought
Yeah.
10 people would listen to it and there's like heaps of reviews and shit like that. So yeah, it's great.
I really enjoy
Yeah.
it because like it takes me back to like something that happens. I feel like is the bands that we like sometimes, as they progress they become different bands and they maybe make music that doesn't fit your taste, but what I enjoy about your music is it takes me back to early Mastodon. um,
Yeah.
and Mastodon's a great band and I still like some of the stuff that they're doing now, but they're no longer like what I would consider like a metal band per se. They've gone more towards like progressive rock, which is cool. That's what they want to put out. But it was just good to hear their older stuff but in a different way, different part of the world. And I really think you knocked it out of the park with especially this being a first release. Like the quality of it is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't expect so many people to draw the Mastodon comparison.
Okay.
But like deep down, I was like listening to a shitload of Mastodon at the time. So it does make sense.
You're like, oh, it makes sense where that came
Yeah.
from.
But at the same time, I was like, I don't want to be Mastodon.
Yeah.
But turns out it does sound quite a lot like them. But it's got a lot of my other influences and stuff as well.
Agreed.
Yeah,
I don't think, like I said, I don't feel like it's a rip off. It's a refreshing take on something that I like, and that's what caught my ear. Where like nowadays, I don't really think people are making music that sounds like the beginning Mastodon albums, and I think that's cool that it's coming back around and influencing people nowadays, like yourself.
Yeah, because like I guess the style of music they were doing doesn't really have a specific genre tag. If you know what I mean?
No,
It's kind of like sludgy prog metal, but then you often get bands who just lean too much into one. If you know what I mean?
agreed.
Like
Yeah.
you got the extreme end of prog metal where it's just like genty shit, machine like drums and whatnot. And then you got the end that's like super sludgy, super like I hate God sounding. Not many that are kind of in the middle, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like what stood out about those old releases is the riffs. They have excellent riffs, and like they're still human. Where it's not like
Mm.
a lot of the great musicians nowadays. Some like for instance, I really enjoyed that new Job for a Cowboy that came out. Um, but like
I
one
haven't
of the
actually checked
things
it out yet.
you haven't,
Mm.
I really liked it.
Moon Healer, isn't it?
Yeah, Moon
It's
Healer.
like it's on my list, but yeah.
I like it. But like like for me, I've been playing guitar for like a little over a year, and that's something that seems like so unobtainable. So like sometimes that music, it's like, oh man, that like doesn't feel like that's something that I could do. And I like those moments where it's like, oh, like this seems like this is like something I could do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
like I've been writing since I was like 15. And I
okay.
guess like back then I just wanted to do like, Metallica riffs or even Burzum. I guess at the time Burzum was like a big influence, just for the whole one man sort of shit. And I
Yeah.
was just
Yeah.
doing like keyboard drums like
You're getting it
and
out
then
there.
recording that. I got a video on Instagram doing it. But yeah, I did that for a long time and then I guess my influences slowly evolved. My
Okay.
music got better and better.
What
Because
I
I'm
want to? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
because I'm 25 now. I actually recorded the album back in 2022 as well.
Oh, okay. So you've
Oh
been
So
sitting
I
on
shit!
it
was,
So
for a
you've
little
been
while.
sitting on this one for a
yeah, I've
little
been
bit.
sitting
Yeah,
on it for
yeah,
ages. Yeah, but yeah, I guess I evolved a lot in like 7 years or whatever.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Makes
Because I
sense.
listened to the music back then, it's just complete garbage. So it's just been like a 7 year process essentially.
You
Yeah,
know what?
yeah.
And I get that because it's hard for people to jump into like let's say something like Burzum. If you show somebody who doesn't have any kind of like, idea of heavy music, if you go straight there, most people are going to kind of be put off by it. And the things that tend to get people into heavy music are like for me, my favorite band of all time is Slipknot. uh
Hmm.
I don't really like the music that they make now, but like, they're those first two albums, there's gold in that. Or bands like Linkin Park, where it's heavy enough to get scratch that itch, but then as you go there, you're like, oh, like, what if I listen to a song that has no singing? It's all screaming, and then kind of it's all, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
it's like a never-ending quest. I feel like, and that's what I love
Yeah.
about heavy music.
I feel like
Yeah.
most metal. Sorry, dude, what was that?
Oh no, 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 no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead.
I feel like when most metalheads start listening to metal, it's kind of like this quest to get heavier and heavier, and then you kind of reach the extreme end of the spectrum, where it's
Yes.
like, yeah, I don't really dig porno grind. I'm sorry. So like, then you kind of start to dial it back. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah. You're like, okay,
Start
where's
listening
the
to what you
line
actually
for
like.
me? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, this is a little too much. I'll revisit that in a couple months, maybe a year or so.
Yeah, exactly.
No, yeah, yeah. It's funny with me. We've talked about it a couple times, but like Al got me into metal, and it like he started off with like some Trivium, some like newer
Mastodon,
Mastodon,
Lamb of God.
Lamb of
Mm.
God, and so like he like didn't throw me in the deep end, but it was just heavy enough. And then as soon as I liked them, I just fucking dove head first into the deep end,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it's funny how it works for everybody.
Hmm. And then you
Uh,
get some people who just start off with heavy shit right away.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's weird that Slipknot is considered entry level, like especially their first two albums, because like even now I listen to them, I'm like, fuck, they're pretty heavy.
my
is
my
wild.
thing about it, and like why I love those two albums, is like, growing up as an angsty teenager, sometimes
Oh, 100%.
you're
Yeah.
just really angry sometimes for no reason, and it's hard to
Yeah.
navigate through that. And Slipknot, those first two albums, Slipknot and Iowa, I don't think there's anything angrier that's ever been made. So that's what drew it to me, was like, oh, like this is kind of scary. Like I've never listened to something like this. And then they got the mask, so it kind of matches the energy. But I agree. I saw something not long ago on like Reddit where it's like, isn't it funny how like Slipknot went from one of the most extreme bands to like now they're almost like dad rock?
Yeah. It's just the age thing as well, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
I feel like
I
no
wanna-
one represents teen angst like Slipknot really.
Yeah.
Like I remember
Yeah.
listening to Surfacing when I had a laptop. It was like laptop class. I was just like sitting at the back playing Surfacing out loud for no reason. They just get like told to go outside or whatever.
I got a
But-
ticket driving to work one day, blasting Sick. I think it was Sick.
Yeah, it
I
was
Sick.
blasted it, ran through a red light, and the camera got me. I was like, God damn it. It does that. Invokes something in you.
Dan,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, like, being in Australia, how did you get into heavy music? What was your entry, and how did you kind of go down that path?
I don't know. It's a pretty tough question to answer. I guess video games were a big influence.
Okay,
Like
That makes sense.
Guitar Hero and Brutal Legend. Those two things are probably
Hell
actually my biggest influence. Do you guys ever play Brutal Legend?
I've never
I
played
never
Brutal
played
Legend.
Brutal
What
Legend.
kind
I
of game
played
is
a
that?
shit ton of Guitar Hero, though. I'll tell you that.
I think it was Guitar Hero World Tour, the first one I got.
Okay,
But
Yeah.
Brutal Legend is this game. It has Jack Black as like the main voice actor.
oh shit,
that's pretty
okay,
And the
wow.
soundtrack is insane. Like it has shit like I can't remember if it has Behemoth, but it has shit like that. Behemoth and Mastodon, just old school stuff like Anvil. Just has everything. Like
Okay.
all the subgenres of metal. So I guess just playing that game was a massive influence because I'll just play it like 5 hours a day or whatever. Just
You-
drive
No,
around
yeah.
in this flaming hot rod.
There's no better. There's I've just like revisited a driving game recently, and any game you get to drive in, Man, it's hook, line, and sinker. I've noticed. It's
it
fucking anything I can fucking get it behind the car and just start hitting things or people. I'm good.
Yeah, I think like a lot of the time I listen to metal is just while I'm gaming or something. Like I
I tell
game
Ramon that
less and
that's
less
what I
as I
do.
get older, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely like a kind of sanctuary for me in a way.
Agreed. I'm with you. Like to whenever I'm listening to new releases, because I like to try. It's hard, obviously, because there's so many releases, so many good bands. But that's I just play video games, put the earphones in, and you know, I
Yeah,
feel that's
exactly.
the best way for me to listen to where I'm actually
Mm.
actively listening and like, you know, because trying to do it at work with one earphone in, I feel like I'm cheating the artist that I'm trying to listen to,
Mhm.
Yeah.
because I can't really give it the focus that I feel like it deserves. Because I can't tell you how many times I'll listen to an album the first time, and maybe it wasn't, it didn't hit, but then I listened to it second or third time, and it's like, oh, okay, there's what I was missing. Now I'm in the right mindset to enjoy this. But I had no problem with your EP doing that. I listened to it at the gym, and it got me through it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. That was where I listened to it too. He sent it to me.
Yeah,
And I threw it on at the gym. So it was like at the tail end of the workout and going into the sauna. So I really had a chance to sit there and listen to it. Dude, that shit fucking hit. I'll say
yeah.
that. It
It's
was
it
great.
it's funny too because I listened to that, and then immediately after that, I listened to another new release. I don't remember the album name, but the band was called Contaminated, and I looked it up, and
mm,
they're from Australia too. And I was like, oh dang, I didn't even realize that I picked two Australian bands back to back. So
yeah.
that was
Okay.
kind of cool.
Do you guys know much of the Australian metal scene or
I
not
was
too
gonna
much?
ask you about that. I know of obviously the big ones like Parkway Drive. Thy Art is Murder. Hardcore wise, I know of the band Speed is getting pretty big. But my personal favorite Australian band myself, Faceless Burial. I love
Yeah,
them.
Faces Sparrow is awesome. Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
But can you tell us like how is the scene out in Australia?
Well,
It's
Brisbane. Well, we haven't had a
Yeah.
chance to say that you're from Brisbane. And I know
yeah.
Australia is fucking huge. Yeah. How's the scene from the Brisbane area that you're in?
Um, I guess I'll explain Australia first because
Yeah, please.
it's such a big country, but we don't really
Hold on.
have
Can I show you that I'm not joking. I have it pulled up right here. So I can it's
like a
Australia.
map.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
I've had it
but
this whole time.
it's
Good.
such a massive country, and we have such a low population and such few
Yeah.
cities compared to the US.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
so
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I guess a lot of bands just neglect touring here because it's such a hassle. It's not very financially viable. You know what I mean?
yeah.
There's
Yeah, that
like
makes sense.
there's like five major cities. Like literally everyone's just piled in these cities, and then a lot of the other places just have like populations of 20, 30,000 and stuff.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's just very, very spread out compared to somewhere like the US where there's just shit ton of cities.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could hit
Now
30 cities in 30 days.
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
But
Now with there not being a lot of like, bands coming through, how's the local scene? Like are there a lot of like local bands and venues that put things on?
yeah, I'll say like in terms of sheer numbers, they'll definitely be less than the US. But I feel like
Okay.
people here are almost more passionate
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we don't have such a massive scene. We don't have all these massive festivals and stuff. So if you go to a show and the band's fucking awesome, then people will go off for it. Probably more than Europe or the US, I'd say.
Okay.
That makes
Oh
sense
yeah.
that if there's that like if you only get one chance to see a band, like you better take it because
Yeah, exactly.
we don't like you're saying we kind of have the luxury of like band X is coming. Oh, I just saw band X 3 months ago. Maybe I'll see them next time they come around. So that
Mm.
makes sense that like you
When
would
there
have
is
a
a
more
show, it's
die
fucking
that
banging.
yeah you'd
Yeah.
have a
Yeah,
more
exactly. But I grew up in a place called Gladstone, which
okay.
is like
Okay.
6 hours north of Brisbane.
Oh shoot.
It's
Okay.
Okay.
this industrial sort of mining town. and there's fucking
Okay.
there's nothing there like in terms of a music scene. It's
They're
6
like,
hours
"What are
away
you
from
listening
Brisbane.
to?"
So we had like one show a year there, and it was just like metalcore bands like I don't know if you know In Heart's Wait, North Lane.
I
those
know
kinds of
North
bands.
Lane. Yeah.
Yeah, they were really small when they used to come to Gladstone, but they're huge now. But it was just a lot of bands like that, and everyone would go ape shit just because
Dude,
people
that's
were really
awesome.
into metal, but there was barely any shows.
Yeah. Now on the topic of Australia, I have a question. It's not metal related though. What is can I get your definition of a bogan?
Oh yeah.
What is a bogan? I am from what I've seen on the internet, I am probably a bogan.
No, you guys aren't bogans. You guys aren't bogans. I don't know. Like it can be offensive, but not yet offensive.
Okay.
It's like redneck for over here.
Yeah, it's a redneck essentially.
Okay.
It's like a
I might
stupid,
be a little
uneducated
rednecky.
person.
You're hitting all
Pretty
the
much,
points,
yeah.
brother. That's me.
You know, the kind of person who will bum cigarettes off somebody or walk into a shop without shoes. If you
Okay.
guys do that, then definitely bogans.
All right.
No, not me.
I've done it once or twice.
Yeah, everyone does it occasionally. If you do it like, you know, if you do it at least 4 times a week, you're guaranteed.
You're a bogan. That's awesome.
Any other Australian words?
No, I'm good.
No, that was just, dude. I follow just a page called Bogans, and it's hilarious. I love it.
I feel like
I love it.
Australians can be very scary in a way.
No, everyone I've ever met in person has been the coolest motherfucker. I don't know if it's the accent. I don't know what the fuck it is. They're just cool as hell. You guys are cool as hell.
Like if you go in rural Australia and you see like a bunch of bogans coming at you, like riding bicycles, like these 45-year-old dudes riding bicycles, it's like, oh fuck, like I better get out of here.
That's funny.
Oh, that's awesome.
to circle back, as far as like your local scene, who are some bands like from Australia that you really enjoy? I want to take the time to maybe write some down that maybe I don't know yet.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously know Faceless Burial. They're
incredible band.
Negus, 3 guys as well.
Okay.
Like obviously they have lots.
That's
of
how you know you're good. You know you're good when you have less than 4 people.
Yeah, exactly. And they make it sound massive live too. But the guy who recorded my album, Brendan Pitt, he has like a fuck ton of bands. You haven't heard of him?
I actually haven't. Brandon.
You can go down and write it down with him. Like he's kind of the guy in the Brisbane scene. Like he has recorded almost everybody. He plays in Snorlax, Resin Tomb.
I've heard of Snorlax and Resin Tomb. Okay, then I've listened to both of those bands. It's good to know.
Snorlax had a release that I thought was wild. Was it last year or the year before?
Last year.
Last year. That was really good. Yeah, fuck yeah.
By who, sorry? Snorlax.
Snorlax, yeah.
Yeah. And that's just like a one-man project as well.
That's wild.
I think he has a couple of guest people and stuff, but it's mostly just him.
I like the one-man thing because I think there's something beautiful about like say yourself where you're kind of like you get to paint the picture that you want, so to speak, where like there are times where, you know, when you have, let's say, 3 or 4 different voices, it could probably get difficult. And so I've always liked I feel like you could always feel the energy and intent of a one-man project.
Yeah, it's almost just done out of necessity for me, in a way.
Okay.
Like, I could find everyone. I could just never find, like, the drummer I wanted. Because you know how rare drummers are. So I was like, fuck, I'm just going to do it myself.
Yeah, we've noticed there's a couple guys out here in the Bay Area that they're drummers for, I mean, each one has 10 different bands. Like, what's his name? Benny.
He's
Benny
in Tsunami and
Tsunami.
A number of other bands.
10 other bands. There's a couple drummers out here that's like though they're like, oh yeah, they play for everybody. So hard to come by them.
Yeah, but
sorry, go ahead.
I'm working on doing live shows as well. So I've been having jams with the lineup and stuff. We actually got the first official jam on
Nice.
Saturday.
Okay.
But I played for
Fuck
drummer
yeah.
last week and it was fucking awesome. So
That's sick,
Hell
see
man.
how
yeah.
that goes too.
I
Now,
hope that
is-
comes together for you. That way you could play shows because your music deserves to be played in front of a live crowd. And, I feel like, touring bands that come around should definitely want to reach out to you. Something I'm kind of curious about is like, I feel like over the last, let's say 10 years, some Australian bands have become like pretty big. Maybe they're not like, the lane of music that you listen to or music that we listen to, but like, let's say like Parkway Drive or Thy Art Is Murder, because those bands have gotten bigger and found more success. Do you think that has maybe brought up the heavy music scene more in general?
I'd say so. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was probably 7 or so when Parkway got big, so I haven't really seen it evolve
Okay.
to like truest extent. But yeah, it definitely makes it seem doable to us, if you know what I mean. I feel like
Yeah.
before then, everyone was probably like, "Nah, we'll just do it for fun." Like,
They're like, we're
like,
staying here in Australia. There's no way we're going anywhere.
mm,
Yeah, no, it's cool
Yeah.
to see. It's cool to see somebody from from where you're from be like, oh shit, they were able to go tour over here. Maybe we can head out there. Yeah, that's cool as fuck.
With how long, or what made you want to go from being a fan of music to like learning how to play music and creating music yourself?
Probably boredom more than anything.
Okay, that's
Because
fair.
I started when I was like 14, 15, as I said.
And that's when you were living out
In
over there,
Gladstone,
where you
yeah.
said, yeah, where there was nothing else to do. I mean, what else are you gonna do out there?
Yeah. So I didn't really know
Yeah.
much people that listened to heavy music or anything. So I was kind of just doing it for myself.
That's cool.
And
Hey,
I guess when you're 14, 15, you don't have a job or anything. You don't have any responsibilities. So you just get home from school, you're like, fuck homework, I'm just going to make music for like 4 hours or whatever.
Hey, that's cool. Um, I'm a little bit of, I'm a little bit of like a guitar nerd. What kind of guitar do you play, and what kind of like amps did you use for recording this album?
Could talk about this for like an hour if we wanted to. But
That's fine. I love it.
hey, yes.
I'm a
I
nerd
use
about this stuff.
I use a 7-string ESP.
Okay.
It's a Horizon. It's got like a color top. That's all I know about it. But it's
Nice,
got
okay.
it's got like the Fishman Toast and a Barcy pickups, surprisingly.
Nice. That's
Because
a nice pickup.
I just got those pickups because they're super versatile.
Yeah, definitely.
Like they can do all that genty stuff, but then they can also just turn into a normal sounding humbucker. I didn't really use the genty shit for the album, but they're sick pickups. And amps was dual rec, and I think Brendan blended it with like a Black Star something.
Okay. Man,
Yeah,
a
so it's
dual
mostly
rec.
the dual rec, and that's the amp I'm still using now. Like I feel like they're unbeatable.
I hear I love that's like always been one of my dream amps. And it's funny because if you go online, it's like people either hate them or love them, and there's not much in between on them.
Yeah.
And
They're a
people
pain in the ass
swear,
to dial in.
yeah, that's what I hear.
That's a big issue.
But
PV's
like,
kind of just like a plug and play sort of thing.
but when it's done right, like it's
It's
the best
incredible.
sounding amp. Like I don't think anyone does it better. And every time I see a band live and I see the dual rec on stage, I'm like, oh man, I'm really excited for this because I feel
Yeah.
like in heavy music, like mostly everyone's doing like PV 5150 or PV 6505. So it's cool when you see something else where you're like, okay, this is gonna be a little bit different.
Yeah. I remember I saw Immolation. I traveled from Gladstone to Brisbane to see them when I was about 17. I remember the guy was sound checking with the dual rec, and I was just like, holy fuck, what is that?
What is that
Yeah.
thing?
Because I never heard it in the flesh before. It was just so big and boomy sounding, but yet had like that Christmas too.
Yeah, definitely.
So I bought one like a couple years later, I think.
Well, you got a good one. I'm
Took a long
jealous.
time to actually find one.
I can imagine. Is
Just
it
searching
harder to
marketplace for
find?
years.
is it harder to find like instruments and stuff out there in Australia? Like, do you have less stores that sell them?
Yeah, I'd say they're more expensive too,
Okay,
just
that's
from importing
understandable.
costs and
Makes
stuff
sense.
like that.
Totally
But
makes
it's
sense.
usually just marketplace. So go off. You would have marketplace, obviously.
Yeah, we
Dude,
do.
100%. I bought some pedals off of Marketplace. And they're fucking I was like, I got them for a steal. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Fuck yeah. Yeah,
But then I've
Marketplace
got
is great.
shit that I thought was a steal, and then 2 days later it just like starts making buzzy noises or something. But most of the time it's good.
This is the something that bummed me out is I have the amp that I have. It's called it's an SNK VH300. It's a solid state 300 watt amp based off of like the Ampeg 140C. And shortly after I bought it on Marketplace, somebody put up Marketplace. Somebody put up a dual rec and a Mesa 4x12 for $1,500, which like for both
Right.
that's insane. I was like, man, what the fuck? But shit happens. When did Stellar Remains become an idea, and how long did it take to like get everything together between the artwork, the music, and all that?
I know you've been sitting up for 2 years, so it's been a little bit of time.
Yeah. So I'd say I started writing the songs. The earliest one is Weeping in the Shoulder. That was done in like 2019.
Shit. Okay. That's
Most
like 5
of it,
years.
yeah. Most of it was how it is on the EP. There was just like a couple changes and stuff like that. But for the most part, it was as I wrote it in 2019. So that was the earliest thing I wrote for it. And then I didn't think it would become Stellar Remains. It was just a random song I wrote, basically.
Okay.
So I probably have like 1,000 songs or something.
Oh shit!
So
but I definitely prioritize quality over quantity.
Yeah, 100%. Now, I actually had that question since it did take so long. Like, do you have a catalog or do you have like albums? Like, do you have like an album set aside? I know you got something.
Yeah, I actually do. I got like an album written.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
But when I record it, who knows? I'm hoping this year. Really hoping to do it this year.
Yeah,
because I might get someone else to play drums even. I might get this drummer to play. I'm not sure yet.
But, cool.
Yeah, and then I got plans to do a split as well. I won't say who, but
that's fine.
I love a good collab, man. A good split.
Yeah, like you hear the worm,
man,
the worm.
Yeah,
Dream Unending one.
Dream Unended. Yes.
The way I describe that release is like that is the kind of art that, like, even though it's music, that should be put up in a museum because that's just like beautiful artistry, like to the max. I'm really sad that we missed Worm. Worm just recently came by with it's a super crazy tour. Oh, okay.
Fucking
sick.
A. There we go.
they just came on a crazy bill. It's them, Devil Master, Holder, and Necrofire. And I didn't get to hit it, unfortunately, but that you're right. That release is like crazy.
Because both the styles blend together so well as well. And then there's the Mare Cognitum one, Mare Cognitum and Spectral Law. It's like a black metal album. I've not heard that one. But it was like 2 hours long. It was called Wanderer's Astrology of the Nine.
Okay.
So every song represents a planet in the solar system. It's kind of like, that old like classical piece, The Planet Suite?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but black metal version.
Like, that's fucking awesome.
There's this song called like Mercury, Venus, Mars, and all that shit. And that's like 2 hours long.
That's right up my alley. I love shit like that. I love a good theme.
Yeah, exactly.
2 hours long. That's impressive. That's a lot of music you got to put together. As far as like you being a fan of music, are you somebody who keeps up with new releases, or do you kind of try to stick with the music that you enjoy?
The the older I've gotten, I've kind of gotten more boring and conservative with it in a way.
It's understandable.
It's usually like end of the year where I try and find out what's come out. We usually
Yeah,
like
you're like, all
mid-year, I
right,
might
everybody has
pick
a
up,
list together. Let me fucking see what we got going here. What's at the top
Yeah.
of everybody's? Yeah, I feel that.
because I'd rather just like if an album's really good, I like to re-listen to it a lot if I can, until I get sick of it basically, and then that's when I try and discover other shit.
Okay. What are some more like say like from last year? What were some releases that you enjoy? Obviously, we know the Worm and Dream Unending release.
There's obviously the Two Mold one,
Oh yeah,
but
big one.
yeah, I'm getting compared to that a lot.
Got
But
that one
I
right
think
here.
like, yeah, it's fucking awesome. It sounds a lot like Stellar Remains actually, but I'm thinking like, fuck, I technically recorded it first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then everyone's like,
"I
"Oh,
had it
you sound
already."
exactly like the Enduring Spirit, bro." It's like,
They sound like me. No, that's awesome.
yeah, that album's obviously really good. I'm blanking out. I can't really think of much else.
Huh, that's understandable. I put you on the spot there, so I don't blame you in regards to that.
Now, I have a question about now, have you had a chance to tour before, or the show that you have booked, is that the first one that you've ever had a chance to do live?
Just in general or Stellar
Yeah,
Remains?
in general, just with any
No,
bands or anything.
played in bands around Brisbane before.
Okay.
Okay.
The main recent band was this hardcore band actually called Wet Work.
Okay.
Hell yeah. Now, what was the craziest your either craziest or favorite memory, and from what venue? Like what was the venue you were like, holy shit, you looked and you're like, this is wild while you're playing.
Yeah. It's controversial, but it wasn't when we were playing, but we did a set with this band and a fight broke out.
Okay.
It was at the Bearded Lady, a venue in Brisbane. That was with Wet Work. Like it wasn't when we were playing, but it was towards the end of the night.
Okay.
It's this crazy fight sort of broke out, and yeah, like full on fist fight type shit.
If the music invokes a fight, it's good fucking music. I'll say that.
That's just what hardcore shows are like at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I feel like Australians are probably more crazy at the moment.
You know what? Over here, I feel like there's more of that in the death metal scene compared to the hardcore scene, because there hasn't been. Okay. We've been to a couple, like quite a few hardcore shows, and it's always super cordial. It is usually at a death metal show, but man, I've seen some fucking people throw some fists.
Every time I see Slayer play, there's been a fight.
Yeah. Someone's fighting.
Didn't they reunite?
Yeah, they're doing. They're gonna play like basically, from what it seems like, in the shows they've announced, they're gonna become a festival band where they're just gonna only play festivals and headline festivals, which is cool. Slayer is like probably, other than Slipknot, probably my favorite band because it's just.
Wonder what lives that away.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. Come on,
got the South of Heaven poster.
Exactly, and I've got more Slayer shirts than I know what to do with. And it's funny. We have another buddy who hosts the show with us, Brad. And what always cracks me up is like I've always been the metalhead, and I showed them metal, and he's become the biggest Slayer fan out of me, him, and the Ramon. And at first, when I showed him, he's like, "Man, I really like the guitar in this band, but I don't like his vocals."
He's like, "I fucking hate the singer." And now he loves it.
I recently got my girlfriend in a Slayer actually.
Oh, okay.
She listens to metal, but it was more like Disturbed and Slipknot and all that shit.
Yeah, like new metal. Yeah.
I showed her Rain and Blood. She's like, "Oh, I don't like the vocals." I think she listened to it again. She's like blasting it like all the time now.
Yes.
When you hear that, it's technically not a breakdown, but it is a breakdown at the end. Like, you just can't not move when that comes on. It invokes something in you.
And like that Angel of Death riff, obviously.
Oh yeah. Yep.
That's probably actually the greatest metal riff of all time, hands down.
I'm not gonna.
Dude.
love that riff.
I can't disagree with that, honestly.
And like you know what? And the intro to South of Heaven, the
Oh yeah,
that's got to be the most evil riff. Like the times I've seen that live, every hair on my body stands up because it's evil. Like it's
yeah.
I don't know how they invoke that, but I love it.
And then you got like Kerry King's new project. Have
You
heard
know,
that?
that's weird.
Yeah,
how
it's
that
called Kerry
happened.
King.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, it's not Slayer, guys. First thing he does is like a fucking
It's a
opening
Slayer
ballad.
riff. You're
I'm
like,
like, oh, it's
wait.
It's weird how like that came out and then the Slayer announcement happened not long after. And like he put
Yeah.
together, I don't know if you know the lineup for the band. It's pretty like stacked lineup where it's
Yeah, I think it's the guy from Death Angel or something, isn't it?
yeah, Mark Ostaqueta
Yeah.
is the singer from Death Angel. Phil Demmel, formerly of Machine Head and formerly of Violence, is the other guitar player. The bassist is Kyle Sanders, which is Troy Sanders from Mastodon's brother, and the drummer is
Okay.
Paul Bostaff.
Yeah, wow.
Pretty solid lineup. So hopefully it delivers.
Yeah, shit.
What
It's just,
kind of bums me out about it though is that the rumor was that Phil Anselmo was going to be the singer for that band, but then Pantera got back together, or I shouldn't say got back together. They created a tribute. I would say is probably a better way of speaking on that. But I like the thought of Phil Anselmo being in a band with Kerry King because I feel like it would be like heavier and maybe like the new song that came out is very, I would say, clean, and I feel like maybe Phil Anselmo would make it a little dirtier and grimier, but who knows?
Yeah, they could have made it sound like the heaviest stuff off like Vulgar Display of Power.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
For sure.
or you know,
Yeah,
like
would've been
give it a little bit of like that down feel maybe too, but
Yeah.
Who knows? That's
Yeah,
just wasn't
That
meant to be.
Pantera show is coming to Australia as well.
Oh, nice. Do you plan
We
on
recently
hitting
got
that?
Knotfest. We recently got Knotfest in Australia as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Do you
saw
go
that.
to shows pretty frequently?
I try to, yeah.
Try to? Okay. What was
Did you
the
get a
last show
chance
you
to
hit?
go? Yeah.
Last show I went to was trying to think. Probably last year, like December last year.
Okay. Nice.
Okay.
Who did you go see?
I can't even remember, to be honest.
No worries. I'm
Dude, I
I'm
feel
putting
that.
you on the spot.
Not like
You know
not
what's
like
funny?
too frequently, but I try to go to like 6
It's-
to 12 a year.
It's funny
I'm with
because
you.
I
try to
have
do
I
one a
have
year. One a month, I
I
should
have
say.
I have no memory whatsoever. So any show I go to is with Al. So and he has a fantastic memory. So and we work together, so we're together most of the time. Anything in my life that I need recalled, I just ask him. So I'm with you, dude. I have no idea what the last show I went to was.
I don't
It's
know
kinda
if
like
you
that sometimes. I'm like, fuck, what come out last year? Fuck, I can't remember. Then like
You know
after
what?
this interview, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll think of like 10 things.
If you don't have any plans, I know Sangwa Sugabog is going to be coming out in your neck of the
yeah.
woods
Yes,
coming up
they
shortly.
are.
Yeah, true.
Shout out, Bog.
Always a fun band to
Yeah,
see.
nice.
They're one of my favorites to see. They're going to be coming near us soon, but I'm going to be on my honeymoon during that, so I will not be catching them this time around. But
If you do go see them, a little tip from someone that's been there: watch Murder Ball from the sidelines, brother.
yeah, don't partake.
Don't partake in
They-
Murder
Yeah.
Ball.
Have you heard about that bit that they do where basically
They might use a rugby ball over there. Who knows?
What is it?
So they do a bit
So-
where they throw out a football into the pit, and whoever at the end of the song still has that football gets a piece of free merch, and people go
Oh,
ape
shit.
shit.
Ape
They
shit.
do it every
dude.
show.
Yes,
Every
they do it every
show.
show.
Yeah, okay.
And it's for the whole song. The whole song. At the end of the song, whoever has it. And it's fucking it's wild.
What do they do with the football after?
Then you take it to the merch booth and you get a free
true.
merch. Yeah.
I was
You just gotta
thinking
get
like
to the merch booth.
they just remember who was holding the football for some reason, and then
No.
they just keep throwing it the whole show.
Yeah, there's people still fighting after the song trying to get
I
to
guess
the
you
merch
need-
booth. It's wild.
Yeah.
Ramon pissed me off when they did that bit because
Well, you gotta hold on. Let's
hey.
explain.
No, so he pissed me off because our other friend Brad, he's a very competitive dude, and he wanted to get that ball, and he
He
was at
will
the
also
bottom
suffocate.
of the
He's a
pile.
very large man.
He was at the bottom of the pile, and granted, there was like 20 people in this pile, and he was
Yeah.
still because he's like contracting trying to get this ball. And Ramon over here,
Well, hold on.
I guess
Let me explain.
doesn't have etiquette, and was trying to get them
I
to
was like,
stop
hey,
the
Brad,
show
you gotta
because
get somebody for him.
It's probably
Dude,
less about the merch at the end of the day, more just about
100%.
bragging
Yeah,
rights. You know what I
100%.
mean?
That's what it was about. 100%. 100%. Now that I see that. But yeah, it was funny because there were quite a few people on top of him, if I could defend myself. And I tried pulling him and pushing people off. There's too many people. I fucking got like 3 people off, and there's still like 3 people on him. I'm like,
It's almost like some kind of like tribal ritual or something.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's kind of what it is.
it really
Like,
is.
yeah, it was great.
Cavemen like competing over like the hottest woman in the clan or whatever. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that.
Yeah,
Same energy,
really is.
definitely.
Yeah.
I wanted no part of that. I will.
I would.
say,
No, I would
though,
never do that shit. That sounds kind of
Oh,
fucked up.
This
I
is
did it once, and I never did it again. I've seen him
I'm no
twice
saint
since
though,
then.
because when there was a dog pile of 20 people, I remember at one point like I was doing the circle pit, and then I just went and I front flipped over like onto people. I like straight swanton bombed a couple of people and got off. I'm like, all right, that's good.
Yeah.
You get a little
that like
crazy.
there's that live show of that Putrid Pile band. Have you ever seen that?
Putrid
Is that
pile.
like
I've heard of
Obscene Extreme.
Putrid Pile.
You know that Obscene Extreme festival?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was at like that festival, and there was just like this massive pile of bodies, like not literal bodies, because people piling on top of each other.
Yeah,
It's
dude,
like
it's wild.
10 people high or some shit.
It was like, I'm not joking. He says 20 people. He's
Yeah,
he's
it's just crazy
not
how creative metalheads have gotten.
Yeah.
Dude, it's wild.
One thing I'm not a fan of is the rowing.
Oh yeah.
I fucking
Yeah.
hate the rowing.
Let me tell you, I'm not a fan of the rowing.
Only one band gets
Amon
to do the
Amarth,
rowing.
that's what you can say,
it. Yeah.
Amon Amarth.
Amon Amarth
Yeah.
gets the pass because like their
They are
music,
Viking metal.
Yeah, like that's their music. But like the other band that I've seen do that is Trivium, and like I like Trivium, but like that's not rowing music. But
Now,
Yeah.
let me tell you, it's not rowing. But Al's wearing a Frozen Soul shirt over here, and Frozen Soul has a push-up pit every time. And man, that is the fun. I partake every time I fucking see it, dude. Every time I've seen them, and you get like
just one
15
song or-
people. Yeah. There's one song that like I want to see everybody hit push-ups. You get like 15 people, 20 people in the pit just doing push-ups while people are going nuts around them. It's the greatest thing.
But yeah, Amon Amarth was the only time I actually joined the rowing willingly.
Yes. Yeah.
I would too.
You can't not for Amon Amarth.
Because it was at Knotfest and Trivium actually played as well, and I do remember people rowing for that, and I was just like, nah,
You're like, no, we're rowing for one band.
just row for Amon Amarth, bro. Like,
that's it. Or I mean, I'm sure there are other Viking bands that could probably get away with it, but I'm gonna give it to just Amon Amarth. So you do like to hit the Knotfest though? Is it a good fest out there?
there's only been one before
Okay.
this next one. That's on very soon. I can't remember when it is, to be honest. But
Nice.
I'm not going to go to the next one because I don't know if the lineup's not as good. But the first one had a really solid lineup. The only issue is in Australia, you probably already know, but it's fucking hot.
We get that too.
Like outdoor
Yes.
festivals are like literally like 40 degrees. Oh, Celsius. I don't know what that is.
No,
currently.
If
Probably
it-
100 or something.
It's
So,
it's gonna be up there. But
Go ahead, Al. I was gonna
So,
say Aftershock. Tell them about Aftershock.
Well,
Aftershock
no.
gets fucking hot.
Aftershock isn't that bad because it's in October. But
Yeah.
Ramon didn't go to this fest, but me and Brad would go to. Back in the day, we had Mayhem Festival, which is similar to like a Knot Fest type thing, but it was a touring version of it, and that would be every summer, like in July or August, which is the hottest time of the year for us. And it would be like 100 and something degree day, but the problem is that 2 of the stages were like on a blacktop because they're basically in a parking lot.
People
So
passing out and shit.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's not fun to mosh there either.
No,
on
you want to be under a tree, bro? You got fucking water poured on you. That sounds like horrible.
And I missed that like touring lineup festival because I like this was when I was really like just getting into heavy music and I'm seeing these bands live. So it's like a cool place where like on the same bill, like I can name one year that I went. Just the main stage alone was Slipknot, Slayer, uh, Motorhead, and Mastodon. And then like on the side stages, you have bands like say like a Mirror and As I Lay Dying. So it was cool to be able to like see different types of metal. And I feel like as somebody who's just getting like my feet wet into metal, it was cool to like I guess get served different options and be like, okay, I like this. Okay, I don't really like this.
Yeah.
And that aspect was cool. And I wish that there would be more of that these days, but
how do you guys feel about the amount of shows over there? Like, do you compare yourself to Europe? Because you look at Hellfest, you're like, holy
too many shows. I go to too many
has like
fucking
every
shows.
band in existence.
It's hard. See, I like it because if these bands are touring, that means like the more they're on the road, that means the more music they're gonna pump out. The more cool T-shirts that I get to buy. It's just hard sometimes. Like there are months where like I work a job. I've got a fiance. I've got like things, priorities, and whatnot. So I'm the kind. I wish I could go to every show, but like realistically, I've got one a month, maybe 2 if I could squeeze it in there. Like, so that I like that we have it, but it does get kind of hard. And then like sometimes something will happen where like you miss a show. Like me and Ramon, we saw Power Trip, and our buddy Brad, he didn't get to go to see Power Trip, so it's like. And then he never got to see them with Riley. So it's like that aspect is kind of hard sometimes too, where like there's always you'll be like, man, I should have went to that show. In hindsight,
there's always a sense of regret if you don't.
Yeah.
I try to go if I'm really into a band.
Yeah, we're so lucky though with the amount of bands that. Granted, we do have to drive a minimum hour and a half to any show. But it's like we're so lucky that they even come that close. I know that there's some parts of this country where it's like fucking they gotta, they can't even drive to the nearest show. It's a couple hours away. So we are lucky on that part. But yeah, there's so many fucking shows. They're not expensive. Yeah. I try to go. I'm lucky. I don't have any obligations. I'm single. I don't have anybody to tend to. So I'll just be able to go on any whim. But even then, it's like you just do miss shows, and you're like, fuck. Yeah, the drive, and when you do miss them, you're like, fuck, I should have gone. You hear some crazy shit happens.
Because I miss Behemoth, and I'm really into Behemoth.
Oh, they're so great. That's
I live
actually
like 40 minutes south of Brisbane too.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I live like 40 minutes south of Brisbane, and like Brisbane City, you should say, where the shows are more in the suburbs. But their show was like at the north side of Brisbane, and I live south side, so it was like over an hour drive. I was like, nah, but now I'm like, fuck. What was I thinking?
Yeah, dude. It's funny because Behemoth, they got me. So one night, so I had been listening to, like I said, Trivium and Lamb of God and Mastodon, and the heaviest thing what really got me into like really heavy shit is one night on a rainy night, me and Al sat in my car and we smoked the blunt, and he's like, you gotta listen to this album. So we put on the Satanist. And oh my god, dude, that like I was like, I need to hear more of whatever this is. It was that band really like propelled me into the heaviest shit.
Yeah, like I've recently got my girlfriend into Behemoth too. Somehow she kind of just went from Slayer to Behemoth.
Okay,
it's such a great band. I mean, the whole, like I said, listened to the Satanist in entirety for the first time, and like just as like I said, I hadn't listened to too much hard shit, but I listened to that and I was like, dude, this is put together so well, you know?
Yeah, I feel like his vocals are a pretty big influence in a way too.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can probably hear it in the vocals a little bit.
Now that you say that, I
Yeah,
actually do
100%.
hear that. I'm glad you say that because, like, you know what's funny about that album is when I showed Ramon, that album has like a weird place in my heart because, like, one of the things growing up, you know, I grew up in like a Christian household or whatever, so you know, I like believed in God, went to church, all that, and that album kind of like, it sounds crazy, but that album like made me like stop believing in that because it was like I wouldn't allow myself to go past a certain point with metal where I'm like, that's like too evil. I can't really get into that.
You can't listen to the Satanists and go to church on Sundays. You know what I mean?
And then I listened to it and I was like, this might be the best album I've ever listened to in my life. And like,
it's everything I'm against.
if it's like, if liking this album's wrong, I don't want to be right. And that kind of ended that thing. So it's like that album, I listen to it and it takes me back to that. But like, I love that album. That to me, that's my maybe like a three-way tie for me. My favorite black metal albums and what I would consider the best black metal is that album, which is like modern, and then the other two would be classics, which would be the first Bathory album, and then Emperor and the Nightside Eclipse. I think those are my three favorite black metal albums of all time.
I feel like we should all just do the same thing then. Mine would be the Satanist, obviously, because I'm really into that album too. I'd probably go Storm the Lightsbane, which is a pretty common choice, but obviously that album's fucking epic.
It is.
And do you know the band Ulver?
Ulver, I do know Ulver. I've just
got. I do. Yeah.
It's some Norwegian name. I can't remember the name of it.
Fucking
yeah, that one. Cannot pronounce. It's like Bergtat or something.
Okay. You're like, it's good, whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah. The way Strange Mouse sings is weird too. Like Bergtat. That probably sounds nothing like what it's supposed to be. It's probably like Bergtata or something.
Yeah, I'm not absolutely. This is the thing. I'm a caveman, so I love me some fucking the brutalest death metal you can get. But I mean, the two that come off top of my head, like just when I think about it, is of course the Satanist and Light Dweller. This band, one-man band, Light Dweller. They had a release. Was it last year or 2 years ago? 2 years ago. And like Alan knows, I'm not like super into black metal, but this, I'll say them. They really captured it though. And also Black Braid, their recent album, because I recently just got into black metal. Like I said, I haven't listened to a whole lot of it, but
I'll have to write down these recommendations too.
Yeah, check out Light Dweller. They have a great release.
If they are similar,
and
they're
what's the
kind
other
of.
one?
Sorry, go ahead.
And the other one was
Black Braid.
Black Braid. Black Braid. Yeah. It's like a Native American influenced black metal band. It's really
with Light
fucking
Dweller
good.
too. They're like, I don't know if you've ever heard of the band Artificial Brain. I feel like it's in that vein where it's like you got
sort of shit.
but like I would call it like you got blackened death metal. I would call it deathened black metal is what I would say.
Well, that's why I probably like it, because it does have that death metal influence.
Yeah.
I'll give a shout out to another Brisbane project.
Please do.
Lautrec.
Lautrec?
Lautrec.
Terec. Perfect. I'm going to check that out.
One-man project, because we used to play with each other in our old band.
Okay.
And cool. It's just like 20 minutes, but it's fucking like obliterating the whole way.
That's my favorite. I like between 20 to 40 minutes, because like my favorite time to listen to music is at the gym, and usually 20 to 40 minutes is that sweet spot to where I could get like 2 releases in the session.
Because I used to listen to a lot of hardcore when I went to the gym, but I don't go to the gym anymore, so I don't actually listen to hardcore anymore. That's probably why.
Hey,
What-
I'm
what kind
gonna
of
be there
hardcore
with
were
you
you
soon,
listening
brother.
I was listening to like all that Hate 56 sort of shit.
Okay.
You know, like Harm's
Dude,
Way
he
and
puts
Code
out
Orange and all that.
he
Sick.
puts out
I
the
like that
best
stuff.
videos. The Hate
Yeah, it's
56
crazy.
videos. It's I mean, the only person that I've seen that's like on par with them is 197 Media. Man, those two YouTube channels, I could do a fucking I'll go through a black hole with them.
Yeah, the mixes and stuff are always really good too.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Have you ever listened to the band Outer Heaven?
No.
That's a band I'd recommend. They're like, if you like Tomb Mold, you'll like Outer Heaven.
Yeah, okay.
They had an album last year. That's my album of the year.
Where
Was
they
Outer
from?
Heaven. They're from Pennsylvania. They're from like the same area Rivers of Nile is from.
Okay, sure. For a second, I was like, I was just thinking of vampires, as people probably do.
Oh,
And I was like, wait,
Yeah,
Pennsylvania's
yeah,
a state. That's right.
Pennsylvania. Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
I
Um,
thought you meant Transylvania for a second. I was thinking like, who calls Hungary?
You're like, who?
Oh, is it
I mean-
Hungary or Romania? Whatever country. I think it's Romania.
it makes sense though, because like we have 50 states and God knows how many cities within the state. So I get that. Like if I say
It's
Pennsylvania,
so confusing here, dude. If you know every state, you're lucky.
Yeah. I feel like us Australians probably know a lot more about America than Americans
Than
know
I
about
know.
Australia. I'd say.
That's fair.
You probably know more about America than I do, brother. I'll tell you that right.
But I think this style of music would be bigger in America as well, because most of my Spotify listeners are actually from America.
Okay. There's a
But,
huge boom in the heavy metal, in the heavy music scene, whether it be hardcore, whether it be death metal, black metal, even new metal. Like we had Memory John. He put out some new
Sorry.
metal and yeah, it's just so big here. Like there's a huge boom of the heavy music scene around here.
It's just
Yeah.
accessible, is what I would say. Like with America, it's just, but it is getting huge. Like, it's pretty crazy to think, but like, the band Knock Loose, they're having a Target
Coachella and
variant of their.
Hold on.
Yeah, and
So
they're getting
Al, you
variant
broke up a
of-
little bit. You broke up a
Yeah.
little bit. Repeat that variant that you were saying.
Sorry, they have a variant like of their vinyl from Target, which is like only Taylor Swift gets treatment and Adele. You know what I mean?
So Target is a giant retail store. It's equivalent to like a Walmart. I don't know if they have Targets out there. So
Yeah,
I just gotta fucking
we
be
don't
clear.
have Walmart. We do have Target. So I actually got it wrong.
Okay.
But I feel like Target's not as big as it be there. It's funny that you said that. You're like, you guys definitely have Walmart in Australia. But we don't.
You guys say they have Walmart everywhere.
I think
Oh goddamn! Go ahead.
you guys have Home Depot, right?
Oh hell yeah, we got Home Depot.
Yeah, we have
let me tell you.
our Home
Go ahead.
Depot is called Bunnings.
Bunnings.
Yeah, so we don't actually have Home Depot. That's what it's called. And
Wait, so does it still have the orange square though? What's the logo?
no, it's
I gotta
green.
know
It's
the
nothing.
logo.
It's nothing like Home Depot, but it's like
Dude,
the equivalent.
Home Depot is like an adult's playground. I'll tell you that. I just
Yeah,
recently
literally.
went, and it's completely wild over there.
But like on Saturday we have Bunnings snags. You guys wouldn't know what a snag is, right?
I want to know what a snag is. I gotta get up on my
Just like-
terminology.
Sausage on bread.
Ooh,
just like
I'm cool with now. The question is it like a breakfast sausage or is it like a bratwurst? You know, like a thick,
No clue.
Is it like a thick sausage? Or
No,
is
it's
it
just
a
like
little
thin,
fucking
I guess it's
breakfast?
I guess it's a breakfast sausage, whatever that is.
Okay, hey, I'm still cool with a breakfast
Just like
sausage.
a-
I love me some Jimmy Dean's, brother.
Oh, it's pretty. It's probably like 5 inches or whatever.
Yeah, it's average.
Yeah, average. Just an average sausage, you know.
It's an average sausage.
Not too girthy. But just sausage with barbecue sauce. They're $2, which is really cheap.
Dude,
So if you ever come to Australia,
wild.
hit up Bunnings on a Saturday. You'll be pleased.
Cool.
Hey, well, look, that's a dream trip of mine. So, Al, we got to put some coins aside and fucking hit up Australia.
I'm down.
Hang out with the homie Dan.
Heck yeah. I only have one last question for you, and then if Ramon has anything, once again, thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. The last thing that I have for you, I'm going to put you on the spot again, is how does metal get you high?
I love that that's the name of the podcast, and I didn't even think of my response.
It's because we get high, brother.
I mean, I don't actually partake in any of that stuff.
No,
that's fine.
But it's like, yeah, it's just my sanctuary. You know what I mean?
I get that.
Just, it can either be my quiet place or my external, loud, outside place. Like shows is where I can sort of express it outwardly a bit more. But
100%.
Just listening to music or playing video games is my sanctuary.
Okay.
So
I couldn't agree more on that. Honestly.
Kind of listen to it in two different ways, and both are great in their own way. So I'd say that's how metal gets me high.
Hey, I like that,
brother.
And most people who we have on, that's kind of their answer of like it's and if we want to talk about it and you getting you high, it's like it could be your upper and get you pumped up, get you excited, or it could be your downer, like, hey, I'm gonna relax. And so that makes sense. My favorite way it's ever been answered was actually Devin from Sangwa was like, well, if metal gets me high, that means metal's a drug, and then the drug would affect me like this. And I was like, man, I came up with this question and I came up with a name for a podcast, but I've never thought of it that way. So I like the different, interpretations of that.
That's how I kind of think of it as well. It's addictive, but in a positive way.
Agreed. And like we touched that point of like you start one place and then you like try to find your sound, so to speak, of like, I at one point I remember listening to Cannibal Corpse and being like, I do not like this, but now I love Cannibal Corpse. It just wasn't for me at that time when I'm like 16 years old. But when I turned 21, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
The hell?
I was actually like the Satanists. I didn't like it at first. I probably only got into it like 5 years ago.
Okay.
Like 2019 or so.
Yeah, you hit this point and you're like, yeah.
Cool. Well, do you have any? You've given us a couple of recommendations of Australian bands. Do you have any closing thoughts or anything you'd like to put out there?
Yeah, I'll just say,
please.
New release, hopefully coming out. Well, hopefully recording it this year. I'll say out next year at the absolute latest. And it's gonna be a full length.
Sick. Okay.
So that's coming up. Shows coming up. Probably just in Brisbane for now, but hopefully
understandable
over Australia eventually. Our 5 cities.
Well, hey, if you ever make it out here, just fucking let us know. We'll be there immediately.
Yeah, sure. Or if you guys come here.
Well, fucking hey, we'll be at. Hey,
not
hopefully.
Out of the realm of possibility.
No, I really appreciate it, guys. Awesome.
Well, thank you for joining.
I'm glad the lag didn't actually interrupt things either.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, except Al cut out a little bit.
Yeah, I cut out the end, unfortunately.
We don't need them. We
got some people on the Wi-Fi right now, so but you just do what you can. Well, thank you for joining us. I like I said, I really liked your release for a first release. It's like really freaking good. So I'm just happy that you've started this project, and I look forward to what comes in the future.
Yeah, cheers, man. Awesome. Well, appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, no
Thank
problem.
you.
Peace out.